Hello, this is the Side Show. I'm Theodore Parker, and today is September 12th, 2022. We just went through ceremonies for 9/11 um, with the president yesterday, and we know over the weekend, um, Prince George III was crowned as King of England following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth. So, we kind of have the weekend coming in, starting another week, Monday. I thought I would kind of like bypass the news today and talk about some other things. Around here, the temperature is about 57, feels like 55, going up to 73. Again, the mask. And without going into a lot of detail and, just to remind you that if in your area your positivity rate is above 5%, it is suggested that you wear a mask. And to me, that's kind of like a common sense thing. You know, COVID-19 is contagious by definition, you know. So you want to kind of keep that contained by your own positive participation by wearing a mask. Because I know when I go out in this area, I have my mask on, but a lot of people don't. So if I was to interpret that, I would say either you want yourself sick or you want me sick. And I don't agree with that. So I suggest you put the mask on. And now that the kids are back in school, some areas I just saw Seattle teachers on strike. And so there's like a staggered start to school attendance and school starting up for various reasons. But this is time for school and they are in class. So all that being said, in the computer world, they have an expression called house cleaning. You may or may not be familiar with it, but I thought I would take some time to do that today. Not in the regular sense, but you got Facebook as far as this show is concerned, and you will see it on Facebook. Some comments on Instagram, you got WhatsApp, Google Chat, and then as far as Google is concerned, I also broadcast the program on YouTube. So again, at the bottom of the page, depending on where you are seeing it, like, share, comment. I do invite comments, of course. If I don't necessarily think you have expressed yourself correctly, I will make use of my file 13. For all you office pokies who know what that is, that's where it will go. Otherwise, appreciate you. Getting into it. Languages on Facebook in particular, and my story. It helps me appreciate that this is an international audience, global, because people post things in languages that I do not speak fluently. I am able to recognize them in print, Hindi, Russian, just hold your horses, Russian, French, Polish, and then because of my martial arts background, Asian languages such as Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. I can recognize all them, but I don't read them and understand them. So I'm asking, can you please post some of these things in English so I know what you're talking about? Then I can respond accordingly. I don't think that's too much to ask. Because every time you put it in your language and I don't know what you said, I'm just like, well, I guess they showed up. I can appreciate that much. I'm just saying, I'm letting you know. Names. Since it's been going on here with the sideshow and broadcasting on Facebook, People come, there's a process, number one. Part of that process is putting in a friend request. And all this is set up by Facebook. I mean, it's not my idea. It's just the way things run, the way things are. And you provide a picture and a name. So some of the people, and I appreciate it, and I'm saying thank you, have been with me since the quote unquote beginning. And our friendships, correspondence, interaction, messaging has been going on. It doesn't have to be every day, every week, or whatever, because people do have lives. So life takes over and they'll be gone for a couple of weeks. And in some instances, they'll come back and ask me why I didn't say something to them. So I say, well, I thought you got busy. And I was just saying, well, she got something to do or he got something to do. And they'll be back when they get settled. So that's how I see it. But here's the thing. Once we are introduced, per se, understanding how online is and how messaging is and how texting is, once we are introduced and your face is embedded in my mind, when you take an absence or go off to do whatever it is that you're going to do and come back, I remember your face. It's just like meeting somebody at work or at school or anything else. I remember your face. Then you decide that I don't remember you and switch names. So I'm introduced to you as John or Mary or Sue. Then when you come back, you got a name like Ishbad Mohammed or Katina Herrera. And I'm like, that's not the name that you told me at first. It's sort of like high school kids trying to get false ID to go to a dance or a club that they got no business being in. So with this new information that Facebook has brought forward about being involved in, of being able to use like 5 different profiles, I don't think, from my understanding of that it means that you're supposed to take 5 different names for 5 different areas, such as maybe you have an interest in a certain community or a certain fan group, or maybe marketplace, or maybe you have a product you want to sell, and then you have your personal friends. I don't think that it means you need 5 different names for every time you have an interest in something, And that being said, people that I grew up with, went to high school with, went to college with, university with, they have kept their same names with their same face. But it's just some people think that every time they do something, they got to have a different name for it. And I'm wondering, where do these names come from? I mean, do you like open a fiction book or a fiction novel and just dive bomb whatever name is on the page and then switch it over to your profile picture? I mean, I'm just saying. So anyway, at one point I even posted it. Be proud of what you are and who you are, and try to be consistent. Now, that being said, when you get into the profile and you're putting in your information and all that other kind of stuff, some people will put up a picture of their dog, their cat, or no picture at all. And I'm like, no, I don't know you. I got a name, but I have no way of putting that name with a face. Then when you get inside the profile page, it's like you can fill out, where you lived, where you were educated, where you worked, what your interests are. If you want to put your birth date or birthday in there, you can do that. It's not obligatory. If you have a nickname, it's not obligatory. All these little things can be filled out along with a picture. And if you have friends And then there's an expression, mutual friend. That means somebody that I know and that you know is a mutual friend. And I don't have a lot, but I do have like a little core group. So one thing springs off of another. So you have people that will fill that information out. They might say, well, not working, but then they'll say went to school and then what city they're currently in. That doesn't mean you have to like give you a specific address, 123 North Pole Lane, but it just means the city that you lived in or your current city. So some people, all that is blank. All that is blank. And I'm like, you never lived nowhere, you never went to school nowhere, and you never worked nowhere. So that tends me to think, well, maybe this is not a real person. Because how are you surviving? How are you existing? Okay? So it's kind of funny in the context of it, but then it lends to other ideas coming forward in my mind about what type of person you are. So then the famous questions that I get, um, where do I work? Where do I live? And how old are you? I get that quite often. So I decided this month to kind of grow a little facial hair, let the gray come in a little bit. Y'all can take bets. But I usually answer that question, how old are you? I say older than you, or I don't answer the question. Because it's like a Nunya thing. Why you need to know? What's the intent? What's the purpose? And then the other question, what are you looking for here? Well, it's my Facebook page. So it's like asking me, what am I doing in my own home? So all that, kind of comes out with it. Females. Links are on Facebook to some people's profiles that lead to other places, if I can express it like that. So I have taken the time to ask some females, do you know that this link is on your profile? And they have said in some cases, no, I just submitted a friend request and that's it. But you should go back and check your own profile page to see if somebody's adding information to it that you did not request. Because I'm not going to talk from, well, I don't know. It's something I've actually taken the time to follow up on so that I can speak intelligently and in an informed fashion about what I found out. So in a lot of instances, these links don't go anywhere, or else Facebook is proficient enough, on the job enough to give a warning that if you follow this link, that it might lead to something that might be unpleasant. So credit to them. So the other thing is, all these links are just bombarding the page right now. And I don't need it. I don't need it. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same subject matter. It's all the same content. Whether it's an individual or a group, you can just cut that. Just cut it. I don't need it. It's not necessary. It's like sitting down to the table, having the same meal every day. At some point, you're going to say, I don't want this. Give me something else. So that's kind of like where I'm at now. I can't even get a decent conversation with an individual, man or woman, on the messaging app because of all this other stuff that's just flooding the page. And I'm not even opening it. It's just taking up space. So I'm just saying, I'm letting you know. And the other one is profile pictures with females in the profile Then when you look inside the page, it's a man's app. I don't think I'm ever going to grasp the meaning of that